Our recent advisories regarding camping, hiking, and overnight exposure to forested zones have performed exceptionally well. However, we have received a noticeable number of responses from viewers who reached a single conclusion after watching them. That nature itself is no longer safe, and that remaining within city limits is the wiser choice. While this conclusion is understandable, it is incomplete. Risk has not vanished from urban environments. This broadcast is for those of you who still seek exploration and adventures, but without leaving the city behind. We will be discussing urban exploration, more specifically, the safe visitation of abandoned structures. Across all zones, there exist hundreds of such locations: hospitals, factories, malls, amusement parks, and residential blocks left behind by changing economies, failed developments, or sudden evacuations. These locations offer a distinct thrill, and over the last decade, urban exploration has become a widespread activity among teenagers and young adults.
Hello, can you hear me?
However, alongside its rise in popularity, there has been a proportional increase in disappearances, injuries, and unresolved incidents associated with abandoned buildings. Many of these incidents were preventable. In this broadcast, we will outline the procedures required to safely explore these spaces and return intact. The first and most important step is structure selection. Never enter a building that is undocumented. You do not need architectural blueprints or floor plans, but you must be able to verify the building's history, like what it was used for, when it was constructed, and how long it has been abandoned. This information is critical. Structures without stable historical records are more likely to be drifting. Buildings whose internal layouts shift, expand, or rearrange themselves independent of physical laws. Once inside a drifting structure, exit is very unlikely, and the chance of falling into the backrooms increase significantly. If a building's history cannot be confirmed, do not enter it. Once a structure is verified as stable, prepare your equipment. Bring food and water, a dedicated flashlight with spare batteries, an analog wristwatch, and a roll of tape. Your phone is not sufficient as a primary light source. You don't want to be trapped in a pitch-black basement inside of an amusement park because your phone ran out of battery. You are strongly advised to explore in a group. Solo exploration is extremely dangerous. Under no circumstances should members of your group separate from one another. You may enter through doors, broken windows, hatches, or any accessible opening. Immediately upon entry, take your roll of tape and place a small strip on the edge of the entrance. This step is not optional. Every time you pass through a new doorway, hallway, or room threshold, mark it with tape. These markers serve two purposes. First, they provide a reliable path back to your point of entry. Second, they anchor the structure's layout. A marked threshold is significantly less likely to shift, repeat, or erase itself. If you begin to run low on tape, do not proceed further. Turn back immediately. Before you begin exploring freely, perform a presence check. Make a loud noise. Shout. Knock over a piece of furniture, or strike a wall. If a site warden is present, this will draw them to you. Site wardens are former humans. When buildings are abandoned, they are often assigned a final watchkeeper, a guard, janitor, or maintenance worker. If this individual loses all meaningful connection to the outside world, time begins to erode their identity. Eventually, they become bound to the structure itself, unable to leave and unable to die. Site wardens endlessly patrol their assigned buildings. They are effectively immortal as long as they remain inside. They will never harm you unless provoked. Provocation includes vandalizing the structure, removing significant objects, or attempting to convince the warden that they are no longer human. If a warden appears, you are advised to either exit the building immediately via your marked path or calmly follow them to the nearest exit. Once outside, report the warden's presence to the Office of Anomaly Safety so appropriate containment procedures can be carried out. If no warden responds to your presence check, you may proceed. Time distortion is another commonly overlooked risk. Inside abandoned structures, clocks are unreliable, and phones almost always desynchronized. Groups frequently report spending what feels like 20 minutes inside a building, only to exit hours later. If time is left unnoticed, 2 hours spent inside an abandoned structure can amount to a whole day in the real world. The more time you spend inside an abandoned structure, the more this phenomenon speeds up. This is not full temporal displacement, but distortion. The building is not moving you through time. It is contorting your sense and perception of time. In order to mitigate this, the analog watch you brought with you will be worn by a member of your group. It will be their job to verbally announce time checks at regular intervals. Your phones, digital watches, or any other clocks might show different times, but you should not pay them any attention. As long as regular checks are being done, you will be anchored to the real stream of time. As you explore, you may encounter abandoned furniture, documents, photographs, and personal items. In buildings without wardens, removal of small objects is permitted. If something of value remains after years of abandonment, the original owner has forfeited their claim and you're free to take it. While moving through the structure, you may feel as though you are being watched. This sensation is completely normal. Continue marking thresholds and remain calm. In abandoned malls and shopping centers, you may eventually notice mannequins following behind you. You will not hear them move. You will only see them when you turn around. These mannequins are not hostile. Prolonged abandonment allows them to develop limited awareness. Their interest in you is curiosity, not aggression. They only move when unobserved. There have been multiple reports of mannequins guiding lost explorers toward exits. Do not attack, damage, or attempt to restrain them. Prolonged staring is also discouraged. During exploration, you may encounter rooms that appear unnaturally dark. Not dark like there are no natural light sources, but even when illuminated, they remain opaque, as though filled with dense smoke. You must never enter these spaces. Not as a dare, not as a joke, not for documentation. Dusk Broadcast assumes no responsibility for individuals who enter these rooms. Avoid them entirely. When moving between floors, elevators should be considered non-functional. If you ever see functional elevators in these buildings, do not use them. Use stairwells with caution. Some staircases do not terminate. Before descending or ascending, drop a small object into the center of the stairwell and listen. If you hear it strike a surface within a few seconds, the stairwell is safe. If you do not, choose another route. When you are ready to leave, follow your tape markers back to your original entrance whenever possible. If this is not feasible, you may use an alternate exit. Once outside, perform an exit confirmation. Has the temperature changed? Can you hear traffic, wind, or distant voices? If it is daytime, can you feel the sun on your skin? Has your phone reconnected to a network? If none of these occur, you are still inside. The exit was false. Re-enter the building and try again. There are countless abandoned structures across the zones. With preparation, caution, and adherence to these procedures, they can be explored safely. Dusk Broadcast signing off. Stay tuned, stay safe.